Brit Hume, just bring you back into this conversation as we're talking about the pardons and other thoughts of the day as we're digesting all that's happening.
Well, I think the pardons are a big story today, and I think waiting till, 11:45 before he issued these final ones was in part to avoid them becoming the big story of the day, but there's no getting around it. This is extraordinary, and the president can protest the outgoing president can protest all he wants about how he's afraid of retribution from Donald Trump and the dishonest Justice Department. But in the end, people are going to look at those pardons and they're going to say, well, there must be something wrong there, something legal that they're afraid of, or he wouldn't have pardoned all these people. And I think, it's hard to analyze this. We can't see any prosecutions, so we'll probably never know whether there could have been any. But it shows you how deeply divided the country is, how so badly divided the country is that as an outgoing administration leaves, its leaders think that people who were either part of their cause, part of their side, or went along with it, might be prosecuted. That's a bad place for a country to be in, and let's hope this doesn't have to happen again.
You know, Britt, President Trump said on the campaign trail, "Success will be my retribution." That's what he said. Do you have a feeling about, how he thinks of it and what we're going to see in the early days of this administration?
Well, President Trump, you can tell from the remarks you heard him make at great length after his speech, he hasn't forgotten the things that he felt hurt him and that were unfair to him, and he probably never will. So the question that arises is really how much is he willing to do to try to get back at the people who he thinks wronged him. In some places, perhaps he was correct in thinking that, a great many cases perhaps. But the question is whether that drags a presidency down, whether it makes for further division, whether it amps up the resistance to him and to his program, or whether those things are better left to the side and his energy spent and those of his administration on his program. Because he's got a big plate. He's made some pretty big promises. Some of them he can accomplish by executive order. Some of them Congress will pass, and some of them it'll be difficult to get Congress to pass. And he will be judged on how well he did that. He won't be judged probably very much on how well he got back at his enemies.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.